Build your business and improve your finances from the inside out with Joan Sotkin on The Prosperity Show.
Hi, everybody. Joan Sotkin here, and The Prosperity Show provides a holistic approach to building your business or professional practice. Because who you are and how you live your life forms the foundation of your business, we focus on your physical, emotional, and spiritual health so you can build a strong base for your success. And along with the personal focus, the Prosperity Show also provides information about real-world business and financial skills that will ensure your financial success. My main site is prosperityplace.com, where you can download free audios and ebooks designed to help you build your money muscles and live a happier, healthier, more prosperous life. Excited about today's guest, who has a wonderful new book out. Joe Vitale has been called the Buddha of the Internet for his combination of spirituality and marketing acumen. An inspiring speaker, coach, musician, and author, Joe is an inspiration to millions and a star in the hit movie The Secret. His many books include The Attraction Factor, Zero Limits, and Attract Money Now, and his newest book is The Awakened Millionaire, a manifesto for the spiritual wealth movement. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joan. It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Always good to talk to you.
Well, thank you. And I'm really excited about this book. I see that in the front of the book, there's the Awakened Millionaire Creed,
yes,
which kind of says what you're aiming at. And I wondered if you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, I don't have the book or the creed in front of me.
I do. I do.
You may have to give me a tip sheet here or a cue card. Well, I'll tell you this. The book is a manifesto to help people blend their passion with their profit. I think there's a war going on in people's heads that they're not even aware of. And it's this war between wanting money and thinking money's evil. And then this war gets acted out on the real plane, out in the real world, where the haves and the have-nots and people believing in lack and limitations start fighting with each other. So I'm trying to create peace. I'm trying to create peace within people with this book called The Awakened Millionaire, with the creed that's in it, with all the ideas of following your passion, forgetting selling, start to share, really come from a spiritual-based, love-based, following your calling-based approach to wealth, and making peace with money so you can actually use it, leverage it, and direct it so it can help you fulfill your mission and your calling. That's what the book and the movement's about.
Well, one of the things that concerns me is the focus on money that we have these days, rather than focusing on what you want the money for.
Yes.
And there's so many people who just say, well, if I only had more money, then I could do what I want. And there's this sense of longing that is always behind what people are doing. When it seems to me, if you're going to put the spirituality together with it, that there's a level of acceptance for where you are in the moment that needs to be part of the process.
Well, I totally agree, and I actually love that. I don't want people to focus on money at all. I want them to focus on their calling, their mission, their life purpose, whatever that happens to be. We can shorten it, just say their passion, what they actually love to do in their life. One of my favorite quotes is from Walt Disney, who said, "I want to make money from my movies so I can continue making movies." The focus wasn't on money. The focus was on the movies. Money was just a tool to extend his livelihood so he can continue making what he considered to be his life calling, more movies. So that's where I want people to come from, is to realize that their passion, their spirituality is far more important, and that money is just a means to an end. It's kind of a tool that we can use. We project so much onto it, emotional, survival, success, failure, all these things, when in reality, money's as neutral as anything. It's got nothing on it. Unless we all agree that it means something, it doesn't mean anything at all. So, and this is the other thing you mentioned about people saying that they want to have money before they actually do anything. I think that's a form of self-sabotage, because actually, most of us don't need money to begin the process of following our dream or our calling or our passion. There are so many stories of people who have come to this country in America with nothing and built empires. They came with $5 and no connection, and they end up building these gigantic businesses. So I think we con ourselves into thinking, oh, I got to wait until I get money. No, you can begin in some way, shape, or form right now. It might be a baby step in the right direction, and money may show up as you take these baby steps, but it's more important to start now in whatever way is appropriate for the person and their calling. And then money may show up, or something else may show up. It could be the right connections. It could be the right resources. I think, and this is one of the things I say in the Awakened Millionaire, creativity is more important than money. Creativity, using our human brain and actually coming up with new solutions to our personal problems, our public problems, and solving them. And the more we actually solve them, the more people tend to throw money at us for solving them. So, I mean, I can go on and on.
Well, what I like about this creed is that it's not just about satisfying my own passion and purpose. It's also about a wider view of becoming more interested or simultaneously interested in helping the world, in connecting to our larger selves in the greater reality.
And that's totally right. I actually picked up a copy of my book that was sitting here, The Awakened Millionaire. I opened it to that page where you're talking about where the creed is at. And one of the lines in there is, the Awakened Millionaire is generous, ethical, and focuses on the good of others. What this is all about is a transformation in a particular person, what I'm calling the Awakened Millionaire. And as they're transforming themselves by following their passion and getting profit from it, they're doing it in such a way that it not only affects them, but their family, their friends, their local community, but by extension, it affects everybody on the planet. So this is no longer about people wanting money for an ego purpose. This is about having money for a spiritual purpose. This is about having money so we can fulfill our calling. And as you do your calling and I do my calling and other listeners follow their calling, we actually get the world to work at that point. We're like pieces of a giant jigsaw puzzle. And it doesn't make sense when we look at just our individual piece. But when you play your piece and I play my piece and we all walk up to the board game of life and lay our pieces down, then we actually influence everybody. So that's why this is way beyond the old school approach of just thinking about yourself. This is about thinking about others. As you take care of yourself and as you serve others, you actually make a difference in the world.
And that really is part of the spiritual journey, when you see yourself connected to more than just yourself. So,
what a beautiful statement.
So that's using whatever you're doing to say your truth or your passion, whatever you're putting out there. It's really part of your spiritual growth. And the more you grow that way, the more the world can grow that way, because you're adding to that piece in the planet.
And I totally agree with that. This is a wonderful, holistic and healing perspective of actually having what I call spiritual wealth. In fact, the subtitle of The Awakened Millionaire is a manifesto for the spiritual wealth movement. And what this is a wake-up call that it's more important for us to follow the spiritual. It seems like too many people have followed one or the other. They followed either the spiritual path and totally dismissed wealth or money or the material, or they followed the material path and totally focused on money and wealth and dismissed the spiritual. And I actually say they're both sides of the same coin. We're not to dismiss any of it. The more enlightened view of life is to realize non-duality is the more accurate, wise view of the entire experience. So spiritual wealth is actually the blend of both. It's realizing that I may be sitting here as a physical person and you look at me as a physical person, but there's a spiritual being within it. And it's the same thing with wealth. We've got the material and spiritual that are actually two sides of the very same coin. So we don't want to just focus on one or the other. We want to actually have balance here as we pursue our calling and our mission, and we make a difference in the entire planet.
And this is so beautiful. It's like, okay, let's take our words and sprinkle them over the presidential primary thing and help people understand that we're all one being. There's no reason fighting and calling each other names. And I mean, you know, both of us are people of peace, and we've chosen to use the energy of money. I don't see money as anything other than energy. And I think you see it that same way. And it's a matter of saying, okay, how do I put my energy in tune with that energy so that I can use it effectively?
Yeah, and I love that. You know, I've often told people that still wrestle with money that one of the best reasons to be okay with money and to actually allow it into your life is that if you care about pockets of the world that are having problems, whether it's somebody starving in Africa or somebody needing a school system in another country, when you have money, you can be a steward for it. You can direct it to where you think it's going to do the most good. And I think having that mindset that money isn't about me, money isn't about me spending on me. I think it's fine to take care of yourself and enjoy yourself and reward yourself, but having the mindset that we can make a difference in the world, instead of complaining about things, let's make peace with money, allow money to come into our lives by increasing our own energy. Then we can allow the attraction of this higher energy of money to come in, and then we can direct the money to where we think it's going to help the most. I actually started, I think I told you this years ago, I started a movement to end homelessness in this country, in America. It's called Operation Yes. Now, when I was homeless and when I was in poverty, I couldn't help anybody. I couldn't do anything. I could give them comforting words, but I couldn't feed myself, let alone feed anybody else. But today, because I am at peace with money, because I can do these wonderful things and money comes into my life and I can direct it to organizations that I think make a difference. And I think that's one of the big things that we all want to make peace with, is that money is such a useful tool for good, and that you can be the director of the useful tool for good. And I know I'm saying words of wisdom because I think I hear a dog barking.
Yeah, yes. Her name is Angel.
Oh, well, see how appropriate is that? Angel was backing me up. I love it.
Okay, so you use the phrase making peace with money.
Yeah.
Don't you also have to know how to take care of it in order to make this work? Because a lot of people on the spiritual path avoid the step of learning to take care of money.
Oh, you know, I put on a seminar a few years ago about attracting money. One of my other books was Attract Money Now, and the workshop was called Attract Money Now Live. And one of my speakers was Dee Wallace. Now, Dee Wallace is an actress. She's probably most known because she played the mother in the famous movie E.T. And Dee is a wonderful person, a very spiritual person, and she just blew our heads off when she got on stage and she started asking us, what is your ideal relationship in life? So if you've got a soulmate or you've got your ideal partner, what are the best qualities of it? And people would say things like, well, we want to honor the other person. We want to be honored by the other person. We want to have open communication. We want to love, and we want to be able to give love. And they went on with all of this. And then finally, Dee took a pause, a theatrical deep breath, and she said, do you have that relationship with money?
Wow. And that is such a good question.
Today. I get chills reliving that, thinking, I never, ever thought that I had a relationship with money. It was more like I just got it and directed it and got it and used it or spent it or saved it. I moved it around. But I never really thought that I needed to respect money, that I needed to consider that in some way, shape, or form, I'm in a relationship with money. That's a biggie, and I think it's a biggie for anybody listening to it right now. So we do want to honor money. We do want to obey money. We do want to know the laws of money and consider, maybe from an esoteric, metaphysical, spiritual view, that we're actually in some sort of love relationship with money.
Well, the way I say it is that money goes to people who love and take care of it, just like people. And it's, I find the better I get at dealing with money and the numbers and paying attention to the financial world, the easier it is for me to make money.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I actually, one of my favorite quotes is from Arnold Patton. And he said at one point, the sole purpose of money is to express appreciation. The sole purpose of money is to express appreciation. That single line flipped a switch in my head when I first came across it, because I started to realize that during the times I was struggling, when I was homeless and in poverty, I kept thinking to myself, man, I wish I didn't have to pay all these bills. And I would write the checks reluctantly and with some anger and resentment. And then when I came across Arnold Patton's quote, the sole purpose of money is to express appreciation, I started to realize, oh, wait a minute. When I'm writing the check for the phone bill, I'm actually grateful to have a phone.
Yeah, right.
When I'm writing a check for the utilities, I'm grateful to have light and power and air conditioning and so forth. So that was another example of me changing my internal relationship, psychologically, esoterically, whatever you want to call it, with this thing we call money. And again, making peace with money.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. You know, we hear so much these days about taxes and cutting taxes and cutting taxes. And what's happening with this I don't want to pay taxes thing is it's impoverishing our nation, because we don't have the money for infrastructure, for taking care of the people who can't make their own money, that sort of thing. And I look at taxes the same way you're looking at money as appreciation. It's a way of connecting to my world and helping to take care of it. And since we started with this tax thing with Reagan, it's become so much more selfish out there with the money. And do you ever think about that?
That's a wonderful question. Decades ago, I attended a prosperity workshop. I was not prosperous at that time when I took it. And they talked about things like taxes, which made everybody have heart attacks in the room. They were grumbling, they were complaining, they hated taxes. And what they told us, the people putting on the seminar, and I think the guy who put on the seminar was Bobby Birdsall. I don't know whatever happened to Bobby Birdsall, but he was influential 3 decades ago. And he said, taxes are good. Look at taxes as a motivator for you to attract more money into your life. Look at taxes as something that is serving a greater good. For example, taking care of our roads, most of them anyway, so we can drive comfortably down them. And some of the other things we take for granted, the taxes are actually taking care of. So instead of complaining about it, use it as a leverage tool to attract more money into our lives, partly to pay the taxes, but partly to make peace with taxes in themselves. Because wrestling with taxes, putting the taxes down, arguing with the taxes was not serving us emotionally, physically, spiritually, in any sort of positive way. So he was giving a different spin to it. And I always looked at that and thought, what a great way to reframe it. He even suggested that when you pay your taxes, you're writing it to the Internal Revenue Service, but in the memo line, say thank you. just to transform your own being when you're writing the check.
Right, now we don't have that option anymore. We do it electronically, so you have to send out the waves of love when your accountant pushes the button. You know,
that's exactly right. Mentally.
But I think what you're helping to do is to change the attitudes towards money and what it is and what it means.
I actually believe that's the truth. You know, too many people, and this, you know, we're on the same page here. You know what I'm talking about. But too many people still have unconscious beliefs about money. One of the biggest one that I write about in The Awakened Millionaire, and I've written about before, and I know you've written about, is the idea that if I begin the sentence, money is the root of all, everybody knows how to end that. Everybody puts the word evil there. And as I point out to them, how are you going to attract more money or earn more money or receive more money if consciously you think, oh, I'm going to do everything right to attract more money, but unconsciously you actually think it's bad? You've got that tug of war. That's the war I'm referring to, where part of us wants money because we need it to survive. We need it to prosper. There's things we want to do with it. We want to make a difference in our lives and other people's lives. But unconsciously, we think it corrupts us. It's evil. It's bad. It's tainted. It's something we don't want to have, which is part of the reason why so many people will get so much money into their lives just in the nick of time to pay their bills, but they don't get more than that. And they'll go through that same fire alarm kind of way of making money the next week. They'll starve, they'll struggle, and at the last minute, they'll pull in just enough money to pay the bills again, and then they'll recycle that. Why are they doing it? Because of that unconscious belief that money's bad or evil. This is all part of what I'm trying to do with the Awakened Millionaire, with the earlier books I did, is to help people make peace with it, that they can actually realize, no, it's not evil, it's a tool. It's just actually something we can use as energy to leverage to fulfill our dreams.
Well, what's one thing that someone could do today to begin to make peace with money?
I think awareness is the biggest thing of all. For example, when I say money is the root of all evil and everybody nods their head, one of the first things that I describe is that that's an incomplete sentence. The longer sentence, which is from biblical literature, says the love of money is the root of all evil. Well, that's a little better to understand that it's not money itself that's evil, it's the love of money that's evil. And then we extend the awareness to realize, well, that's from biblical literature written thousands of years ago and translated so many times, we don't even know what was actually really even said. So that's the next level of awareness, is to realize, let's not think this is written in stone in some way. This is not in your DNA to think that money is evil. And then I go on, again, expanding the awareness. This is all part of what I think makes a difference in people. And to realize that all the wealthy people in the world that have this kind of awakened millionaire spiritual wealth mindset are not in love with money. They don't love money. They appreciate money. They use money. They leverage money, but they're not in love with money. They're in love with their calling, their passion, their life, their family, and so forth, all the natural, healthy things to be in love with. So that's the very first thing, is to realize that we've had that belief, but with this understanding, with this explanation, the explanation in many ways is the cure. And with that, they can let that one go. Money is actually neutral.
It is. And so in learning to love money, I think it's a good idea to hold a dollar bill.
Yes.
And just sit with that dollar bill and imagine that you're telling it wonderful, loving things. To actually love the money. Mm-hmm. And that to me is different from the love of money is the root of all evil. Is to put your to tune your energy into what money is. And instead of it's like when you meet someone and you make a judgment about that person without getting to know them. And it seems to me that if you get to know money, which you do by taking care of it and counting it and getting to know the financial world, then you're saying to money, I'm willing to get to know you. Can you get to know me?
That's beautiful. I love it. That goes back to what Dee Wallace was talking about in terms of, do we have a relationship with money?
Yes.
I actually have a dollar bill in my hands and I'm looking at it because, in many ways, it's a magical symbol. This is full of energy. There's so many little etchings in this thing, and everything from the pyramid and the great eye and the phrase "in God we trust." There's so much here that I'm looking at it and marveling at it, just thinking, what wizards came up with this? Because this is actually very, very cool.
I mean, there's actually mystical symbolism on the money, and we just kind of throw it around. So I'm going to suggest to the audience that they do something today to take care of their money in a different way and to appreciate the money.
I love it.
All right.
I second the motion.
Okay, you and I can save the world, can't we, together?
All of us together can do it. That's exactly right.
Right. And so I'm looking forward to reading your new book and seeing how you bring in such a wonderful way the spirituality to the money to help people understand that when they understand themselves and they have their own awareness about themselves, that it's going to change their relationship with money.
Absolutely correct. And I just opened my book, The Awakened Millionaire, to the page that has a quote from Wallace Wattles, and I'll just read the first line. This is from Wallace Wattles' famous book, The Science of Getting Rich. Whatever may be said in praise of poverty, the fact remains that it is not possible to live a really complete or successful life unless one is rich.
Well, I don't know if I totally agree with that.
Well, he did have more lines after that to explain what he just said.
Yeah, right. Because, I mean, studies show that, I always go,
Yes.
well, which studies show?
Right.
It's like the favorite pill of doctors. Which doctors? The advertisement out there is crazy. Anyhow, the studies show that people who are poor often are happier than people who are rich because they have to depend on relationships with people, and their values are different. They're more connected, and they can do things that rich people don't. So I don't think it's either or. I think rich has more to do with things outside of money than just the money. And I think you agree with that too.
I do, and I talk about that in the book because when the subtitle says it's a manifesto for the spiritual wealth movement, the word wealth is more inclusive than just saying money. We are talking about experience. We are talking about skills. We are talking about the spirituality of life. There is so much to discuss here that we can start things and not finish them, and that's the downside. And that's why I will self-promote my own book and say The Awakened Millionaire is at Amazon right now, going into bookstores right now, and there is an audio version of it that I read, and there is the Kindle version of it for we who like the instantaneous gratification. So it's called The Awakened Millionaire, and it's wherever books are sold.
I would never accuse you of being a self-promoter.
I say it myself.
You do that so well. I was going to ask you where people can find it. And how else can people get in touch with you?
My main website is my name, www.joevitale.com, Vitale. You can also get there by my nickname, which is Mr. Fire. So www.mrfire.com would get you there as well.
All right. Well, I always enjoy talking to you. You're such a delight. And I'm so glad you're on the planet.
Oh, thank you. I don't know if anybody's ever told me that. I'm glad you're on the planet. If I need reading when I go through life tomorrow, I'll go out and run errands and talk to people and say, good morning. I'm glad you're on the planet. Thank you. I love what you're doing, and I always love being on shows with you. Thank you.
All right. Well, I wish you the best and look forward to our next conversation.
Me too.
All right. Well, folks, that was wonderful. And the show notes will be on prosperityplace.com. And I'd love to hear from you. And, what is your passion? What are you working towards? And what do you think is keeping you from that? What's that belief that's getting in your way? And so that's it for today. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye now.